So, there I was, on my knees on the asphalt at 11 p.m., hands cuffed behind my back, while my 9-year-old daughter's face pressed against the living room window, watching her dad get treated like a criminal. 3 cop cars, sirens wailing, that hot pavement smell mixed with the diesel from their idling engines. My neighbors recording everything on their phones, and there's Diane Kressler in her $60 yoga pants, telling the police she owns my house, the house I've lived in for 20 years, and I'm some squatter who won't leave. The cops believed her at first. What Diane didn't know while she stood there smirking, those foreclosure papers in my back pocket made me the landlord of every single house in Meadowbrook Estates, including hers. Ever had a neighbor mistake a laminated name badge for a crown? Drop your worst HOA horror story below. Watching from inside an HOA right now? Subscribe because this gets so much better. Let me back up 6 months. My name's Max Brennan. 43, widower, single dad to Riley who just turned 9. The first birthday, without her mom there to sing. Jenna died 18 months ago. Ovarian cancer, stage 4 by the time they found it. We had 7 months from diagnosis to funeral. 7 months of hospital smells, that mix of antiseptic and fear that sticks in your clothes. 7 months of watching my wife disappear inside her own body, while our daughter learned to be quiet in waiting rooms. The medical bills are still coming. $17,000 left, even after insurance. I'm a commercial electrician, 20 years in the trade. Own a small contracting firm, for guys, 3 trucks, enough work to keep food on the table, and Riley in gymnastics. The house is paid off, thank God. My grandfather left it to me in 2003. A 1970s ranch on 2½ acres Pinehurst Road, just outside Kansas City. It's the only reason we survived Jenna's treatment without losing everything. Here's where my life got complicated. My property sits inside Meadowbrook Estates HOA boundaries, but I'm not a member. Never have been. Back in 1998, a developer named Lawrence Kressler bought 300 acres of farmland surrounding my grandfather's place. Planned a whole subdivision, Meadowbrook Estates, started building in 2008. Pool, clubhouse, the works. My grandfather refused to sell. Told Kressler he could build around him, but the Brennan land wasn't for sale at any price. So they did. Built around me like water around a rock. Created this weird situation where I'm an inholding surrounded by HOA property, but not subject to their rules. It's in my title deed, county recorded, legal as concrete. The HOA formed when houses started selling. Usual covenant stuff, approved paint colors, no commercial vehicles visible from street lawn maintenance schedules. None of it applies to me, but somebody put me on the mailing list anyway. 3 years ago, HOA meeting notices started showing up. I ignored them. Not my problem. Then came violation notices. Grass too long. Work truck is an eyesore. Mailbox doesn't match community standards. I kept ignoring them. That's when Diane Kressler decided I was her personal project. Mid-50s blonde highlights. Real estate agent at Hartman Reilly. You've seen her face on bus benches. White Lexus SUV vanity, plate sold for you. Lives in the biggest house in Meadowbrook. The one with the koi pond that probably costs more to maintain than my annual salary. She's also the HOA president, 6 years running. And this is the fun part. She's Lawrence Kressler's ex-wife. The developer who built around me. That's her ex-messy divorce in 2015. She got the real estate business. He kept the development headaches. She showed up at my door on a Saturday in July. Riley and I were planting wildflowers in the front yard. Native Missouri species from Jenna's garden journal. Her last spring. Jenna had sketched out this whole design. Purple cone flowers, Blachiad Susans, milkweed for the monarchs. Riley was covered in dirt. Happy. First time I'd seen her really smile in months. Then Diane's Lexus crunched into my gravel drive. She got out holding a clipboard like a sword. That day's power outfit involved a statement necklace that could have funded Riley's braces. Mr. Brennan, we need to discuss your property compliance issues. I stood up, brushed dirt off my jeans, kept it polite. I'm not in the HOA, ma'am. Never have been. Showed her the title deed language. I keep a copy in the kitchen drawer now, laminated. The exception is right there in black and white. She laughed. Not a chuckle, a full dismissive laugh. That's not how this works. Developer mistakes don't override current covenants. It's not a mistake. It's recorded legal language. The smile never reached her eyes. We'll see about that. Next morning, Sunday, because of course, There's an orange violation sticker plastered across my truck windshield, 3 in tall. Violation in angry red letters. Not a legal notice, just a bullying tactic. I spent 20 minutes scraping it off with a razor blade. Metallic scrape against glass, sticky adhesive residue that reeked of cheap citrus cleaner. My fingers smelled like it through 2 hand washings. Riley watched from the porch. Why is the mean lady mad at us? That's when I knew Diane Kressler wasn't going to stop. The violation sticker was just the opening shot. 2 weeks later, I'm downtown rewiring a medical office when my phone rings. County code enforcement. They'd received complaints about my property. Unpermitted electrical work, illegal home business, septic system failure. None of it true. Doug Simmons showed up next morning. County inspector, 50-some, tired eyes that said he'd seen every petty neighbor war Missouri had to offer. He spent an hour walking my property with his clipboard, checked my electrical permits, all legitimate. Tested the septic with some kind of probe. Functioning fine. Pumped 6 months ago. Looked at my illegal business. 1 desk, 1 computer, 0 employees. He closed his clipboard. Off the record, we get 3 or 4 of these a month from Meadowbrook. Same person every time. I remembered reading somewhere that false code complaints are public record. Can I request the complaint history? Absolutely. And if someone's filing multiple bogus reports, you can pursue harassment charges. They might face fines for wasting county resources. He handed me a form. Just so you know. After he left, I spent 3 hours digging through county records online. Found the pattern. 6 years. 11 properties targeted by Diane's violation complaints. Older residents who couldn't maintain landscaping. Single moms with toys and yards. A guy who restored classic cars. 8 of those 11 families sold within 6 months. I referenced the sales, every single one listed by Hartman Reilly. Diane was harassing people out, then collecting 6% commissions. A shakedown with a clipboard and a laminated name badge. I called my buddy Reggie that night. We served in the guard together. He's a paralegal now. Met at the VFW on Fish Fry Thursday. That smell of hot grease and stale beer. Click of pool balls from the back room. Reggie scratched notes on a bar napkin while I explained. Tortious interference, he said. She's using authority for personal profit. You could sue her personally. What do I need? Everything documented, and he tapped his pen. HOAs in Missouri are quasi-governmental. Sunshine Law applies. You can request all their records. Financial statements, meeting minutes, everything. I filed the request next morning. Certified mail. Diane delivered the denial herself 3 days later. Single page held like a weapon. Attorney-client privilege. Request denied. That's not how Sunshine Law works. Take it up with our attorney. She turned away then stopped. Oh, and move your truck. It's blocking the street. It wasn't. I was parked in my own driveway. Next morning, 6 a.m. morning. I had a huge client meeting. Orange traffic cones blocked my exit. No markings, no city notice, just harassment. I moved them by hand, threw them in my truck bed. 45 minutes late to the meeting, lost the contract, $8,000 gone. That afternoon, Riley's carpool mom forgot to pick her up from gymnastics. Riley waited an hour. I left another job site early to get her. The carpool mom was Diane's friend. That night, Riley asked if we should move. She was in bed, stuffed rabbit under her chin, the one Jenna gave her, voice barely a whisper. Daddy, would it be easier somewhere else? I wanted to say yes, but after she fell asleep, I found Jenna's garden journal, pressed flowers, notes in her handwriting. Riley had asked earlier if we had to dig up Mommy's flowers. I pulled out my phone, recorded a video statement, documented everything, the stickers, false complaints, blocked driveway, forgotten carpool, build a timeline. Then Doug Simmons texted me. Just a link, Kansas City Business Journal article about real estate trends. Buried 6 paragraphs down. Hartman Reilly in acquisition talks with RE/MAX. Some agents under ethics review for subdivision. Steering practices. Diane was vulnerable. If corporate discovered she was abusing HOA power for commissions, she'd lose her license. I called Reggie's boss Monday morning. Mara Desmond, attorney specializing in property disputes. Scheduled a consultation. Sunday night, I walked out to grab my tool bag from the truck. All 4 tires slashed. My security camera installed after the cone incident caught someone at 3 a.m. black hoodie, face hidden, but the walk, the height, the build, female, Diane's size. I stood there in the driveway, smell of rubber and night air, looking at 4 shredded tires. For for $1,500 to replace them. Money I'd saved for Riley's birthday trip to Silver Dollar City. Called the police, filed a report. They said without facial ID, nothing they could do. But I knew, and more importantly, I had it on video. Reggie texted me at midnight. Don't do anything stupid. We meet with Marlo Wednesday. Let her build the case. I stared at that message for 10 minutes. Then I screenshot the security footage and added it to my evidence folder. 17 documents now. Dates, times, photos, videos. Diane wanted a war of documentation. Fine. I'm an electrician. I know how to follow code. I know how to document every wire, every connection, every detail. I'd document her right into a courtroom. 1 week after the slashed tires, I finally had leverage. My buddy Reggie set up the meeting with his boss, Mara Desmond. Attorney, mid-40s, office smelling like leather-bound law books, and expensive coffee. The kind of woman who probably won awards for most intimidating cross-examination. I laid out my evidence folder, 17 documents, chronological order, color-coded tabs. Yes, I tab things. I'm an electrician. We label everything or people die. Mara spent 20 minutes reviewing, making notes in red ink that looked like surgical cuts. This is a solid harassment case, tortious interference, intentional infliction of emotional distress. She looked up. But I want to show you something else. She pulled up county records on her computer. I ran financials on Meadowbrook Estates HOA as an entity. They're not just petty, they're broke. The spreadsheet made my stomach drop. How broke? They owe $340,000 to the original developer. Balloon payment due in 4 months. Reserves are at $90,000. They're nowhere close. Wait, they collect $1,200 a year from 127 homes. Where's all the money? Her finger traced a line item. Here and here and here. Kressler Property Solutions, $18,000 for consulting. No contract. KPS Landscaping, $22,000. KPS Property Management, $15,000. All LLCs registered to Diane's business address. She's been stealing from the HOA. Self-dealing, illegal under Missouri statute. But here's the interesting part. Mara leaned back. If that balloon payment isn't made, the developer can foreclose on the HOA itself, the common areas, the amenities, all of it. I filed the police report on my tires that afternoon, brought the security footage, got a case number. The officer seemed sympathetic but realistic. Without a face, not much they could do. Riley was with Jenna's parents that week. I told her it was special grandparent time. Didn't mention I wanted her away while things escalated. She was excited about staying up late watching old movies with Grandma. 5 days passed. Quiet. No Diane sightings. No new violations. I started thinking maybe the police report scared her off. Then came August 16th, 10:30 p.m. I was in the garage working on Riley's birthday present. Wooden dollhouse from Jenna's sketches. Country music low on the radio. The smell of wood glue mixing with polyurethane. That chemical sweet scent that sticks in your nose. August heat still radiating from concrete despite the open door. Red and blue lights exploded across my workbench. Then sirens. 3 cruisers sliding to stops. I stepped out, hands visible, mind racing through possibilities. Neighborhood break-in. Gas leak. Max Brennan. Young officer hand near his weapon. Yeah, what's wrong? We have a report of trespassing. Possible squatter situation. Are you Max Brennan? The words didn't connect at first. I own this property. I've lived here 20 years. Sir, the complainant claims she recently purchased this house and you're refusing to leave after eviction. Diane's Lexus sat at the curb. She emerged in yoga pants and a North Face fleece, doing this whole distressed victim performance. Officers, thank God. He's been squatting for months. I've tried to be understanding, but I'm actually frightened. That's insane. I own sir. The officer's hand went up. Let her finish. Diane handed over papers. Lease agreement with my name spelled wrong. Brennan. Eviction notice on fake letterhead. All printed on what looked like her home printer slightly off-center. Do you have proof of ownership? Yes. Inside. I'll accompany you. The walk to my own kitchen with a police escort to prove I lived in my house. Neighbors on lawns with phones up. Recording. Riley's bedroom window visible. Curtains she'd picked. Sunflowers lit from within by her nightlight. Thank God she wasn't home to see this. I pulled the deed from the kitchen drawer. Title insurance. 20 years of property tax receipts with this address. Sergeant Kowalski, senior officer, maybe 50. with the exhausted eyes of someone who's seen every stupid neighbor dispute Missouri offers. Reviewed it all on his laptop. County database. My license. Cross-reference. He turned to Diane. Voice very calm. Very controlled. Ma'am, this man owns this property outright. These documents you provided, we'll need to discuss you filing a false police report. Diane's performance cracked. I don't understand. The title company said, Ma'am, you need to leave now. She walked to her Lexus, drove away, silent. Kowalski handed back my documents. Mr. Brennan, I apologize. We respond to all calls, but this was clearly frivolous. Can I press charges? You can file a criminal complaint. I'd also talk to a lawyer about civil action. After they cleared out, Herb Vance shuffled over. Elderly guy, 3 houses down. Hadn't spoken to me since Diane started her campaign. That was our hit, he said. She told us you were cooking meth. Time we stopped believing her. Text from Lisa Cho at 11:47 p.m. saw everything. Half the neighborhood did. We're done with Diane. I sat in Riley's room afterward, her stuffed rabbit on the pillow, the wall still smelling faintly of the lavender spray Jenny used. My daughter asked to stay extra days with grandparents because she didn't feel safe here. Called Mara at midnight. Left a voicemail. I want to sue everything. Let's end this. Diane went nuclear 48 hours after the cops left. Lisa Cho texted me at 6 a.m. with a screenshot. Facebook Meadowbrook Estates Community Group. 472 members. Diane's post showed my property photographed with a telephoto lens. Red circles around my work truck. The wildflower garden peeling garage paint. The caption was pure fiction wrapped in concerned neighbor language. Shaken after Tuesday's incident. Attempted to discuss violations with a resident who became verbally threatening. Had to call police for my safety. Asking all residents, especially women and children, avoid contact until resolved. Our property values must be protected. 89 comments in 3 hours. Thank you for keeping us safe. Property values are dropping because of people like him. This is why we need our HOA. Lisa posted a factual correction. Deleted in 20 minutes. Herb Vance tried commenting, kicked from the group. By noon, Diane had cross-ossed to 3 other community groups, adding vague mentions of unlicensed contractor concerns. My phone rang at 1 p.m. The downtown renovation client. 2 weeks of negotiations. Contract almost signed. Max, we've received concerns about your company. Professionalism issues, possible licensing problems. Can we discuss 30-minute conference call? I provided documentation. License current, insurance active, 20 years of references. He sounded satisfied but wary. We'll proceed, but any other incidents we'll need to reconsider. One more call like that, and I'm unemployable. Reggie and I spent that weekend drowning in paper. The HOA records Diane had dumped on my porch. 14 bankers' boxes deliberately disorganized, some water damaged, technically compliant with my sunshine law request. Practically useless. Reggie brought 2 law students. We commandeered my dining room. That smell of old documents, musty paper, faded toner ink, cardboard mixed with too much coffee, and frustration. 11 hours of sorting, but we found gold. Diane's violation reports targeted 5 specific properties, all owned by single mothers or non-white families. Meeting minutes showed her proposing aesthetic standards to eliminate undesirable elements. Financial records showed $60,000 paid to Diane's LLCs over 3 years. Consulting with no contracts, administrative fees with no explanation. Landscaping services 20% over market rate. Box 9 contained a handwritten note on Hartman Reilly letterhead. Diane to another agent. Once we clear the holdouts, Meadowbrook becomes 100% compliant premium community, working 3 problem properties now. Listings by fall commission split. Reggie photographed it. Intentional scheme. This is prosecutable. Civilly or criminally. Civil? Definitely. Criminal needs the Attorney General. That's bigger machinery. Tuesday, an anonymous package arrived. Manila envelope. Kansas City postmark. No return address. USB drive inside. I called Reggie before opening it. We plugged it in together on speakerphone. 2 folders. First, emails. Diane coordinating with realtors to lowball targeted homeowners. Discussing encouraging sales through violation pressure. One to her ex-husband, Lawrence. The Brennan inholding costs us premium pricing on every sale. I'll handle it. Second folder, HOA financial documents. Loan papers showing $340,000 owed to LK Development Holdings, Lawrence's company. Balloon payment due December 15th, for months away. A printed note. She did this to my family too. Kept documentation. Use it. A friend. Someone she ran off. I said someone who wants payback, but moved away. Mara reviewed everything Wednesday. Her office coffee forgotten, clicking through files for 40 minutes without speaking. Finally, this isn't neighbor dispute anymore. This is conspiracy to commit fraud. Potential RICO violations. She looked up. Question is, do you want to just sue Diane or dismantle the entire power structure? I waited. The HOA is broke. Balloon payment in 4 months. They can't make developer will foreclose, take the pool, clubhouse, common areas, everything. She leaned forward. What if you bought the debt, became the creditor? You'd control foreclosure. Own the assets Diane's been weaponizing. My throat went dry. How much? Distressed debt sells at discount. Maybe $200,000 for the full note. I had $185,000. Jenna's life insurance money. Riley's college fund. My retirement. That's everything I have. I know, and it's risky. The developer might not sell. The foreclosure could get challenged. You might lose it all. She closed the laptop. But if it works, you'd own the HOA, not just win against Diane. You'd control the entire system she's been abusing. I drove home thinking about Riley's question. Should we just move? Jenna's voice in my memory from when we were deciding on her treatment. We didn't raise our daughter to run from bullies. That night, I pulled the life insurance statement. $185,412. I called Lawrence Kressler's number from the loan documents. He answered on the second ring. Mr. Kressler, my name's Max Brennan. I live in Meadowbrook Estates. I understand you hold a debt against the HOA. Silence. Then you're the guy with the in-holding. Diane complains about you at every closing. I'd like to buy your note. The full debt cash. Longer silence. Let's talk. Lawrence Kressler picked a Panera off I-7. Thursday afternoon, half empty, smell of bread and industrial coffee. He looked nothing like I expected. Late 50s, tired eyes, polo shirt with a small stain near the pocket. Not a developer shark. A guy who wanted out. You actually want to buy my Meadowbrook debt? $340,000. You want out? I want leverage. Cash close. He laughed, stirring his coffee. Diane told half of Kansas City you're a squatter and a deadbeat. You don't look like either. Your ex-wife's been terrorizing me for 18 months. False police reports, slashed tires, trying to destroy my business. I've got 2 in of documentation. That's Diane. He nodded like I'd confirmed something. She finds someone who doesn't fit her vision, makes them miserable until they sell, then takes 6%. She's cleared $340,000 in commissions running people out of that neighborhood. The exact amount of the balloon payment. I noticed that, too. The HOA was supposed to pay me from assessments. Diane keeps deferring, blocking fee increases, voting down payments. Meanwhile, she's paying her own LLCs for fake services. He sipped coffee. I've got lawyers, but foreclosure litigation takes years and costs a fortune. So, sell me the debt. I'll do the foreclosing. What's your offer? My mouth went dry. $185,000. I know it's worth $340, but distressed debt typically sells at 50% discount. $160, final. I stared. That's a 40% haircut. Why so low? Because foreclosing myself means 18 months fighting Diane in court, $50,000 in legal fees, and my blood pressure medication doubled. He leaned forward. You foreclosing? That I'd actually pay to watch. Plus, our divorce decree prohibits me from taking direct action against HOA without consent of both parties. You're not bound by that. When's the balloon payment due? Was due? December 15th, past tense. He smiled. They also missed 2 quarterly payments. I accelerated the debt, demanded full payment immediately, and filed foreclosure notice 62 days ago. My heart kicked. Diane knows. I mailed it certified to the HOA's registered agent. Diane probably saw LK Development on the envelope and threw it away thinking it was spam. He pulled out his phone, showed me a tracking screenshot signed for August 3rd by her. So, the foreclosure is already active. Sales scheduled September 28th, 3 weeks from today. You close on the debt assignment before then. You're the one holding the gavel, not me. 3 weeks to move $160,000 to risk everything on a legal maneuver I barely understood. Why help me? You don't know me. Lawrence's smile faded. Diane told our kids I was abusive during the divorce. Wasn't true, but they believed her for 2 years. She's cost me relationships, reputation, and $180,000 I'll never recover. He stood, you wiping that smug look off her face at a public foreclosure sale. Worth every penny of the discount. We closed September 22nd. 19 days of frantic paperwork. Mara working weekends. Me pulling money from 4 accounts. $160,000 wired at 3:00 p.m. By 4:00 p.m., the assignment recorded at county. I own Meadowbrook Estates, HOA's debt. Diane had 6 days until foreclosure. She had no idea. I sat in my truck outside the recorder's office holding stamped documents. Hands trembling. Paper smelling like fresh toner and permanence. Jenna's life insurance gone. Riley's college fund gone. My safety net gone. But I wasn't defending anymore. I was attacking. Called Reggie. It's done. Jesus. Does Diane know? September 28th, 10 a.m. Courthouse steps. I'm bringing popcorn. I looked at the wildflower seeds on my passenger seat. Another badge for Jenna's garden. Bring a camera, too. This needs to be documented. Saturday morning, my dining room became a war room. Mara Desmond, Reggie, Doug Simmons, the code inspector, off duty here on personal time. Lisa Cho representing the silent majority of neighbors. Herb Vance, original Meadowbrook resident, elder statesman. Riley was at her grandparents' again. Better that way. The smell of Mara's hazelnut coffee mixed with the lemony furniture polish I'd used that morning. Wanted the house to look presentable. Whiteboard borrowed from Riley's school stood in the corner, markers squeaking as Reggie mapped timeline. September sunlight through Jenna's lace curtains. Goal? Mara asked. Don't become the next tyrant, I said. Fix the system so nobody else gets harassed. Herb nodded approvingly. That's the right answer. Mara drew a flowchart on the whiteboard. Here's how foreclosure works. September 28th, 10 a.m. Courthouse steps. Special Commissioner auctions the HOA's assets. Pool, clubhouse, common areas, 15 acres total. Who can bid? Lisa asked. Anyone, but Max has an advantage. Mara turned to me. You're the lien holder. You can credit bid. Use the debt itself as payment. You don't need to bring cash to the sale. You essentially bid $340,000 by just showing up. I'd read about this online, but hearing it explained clearly made it real. Credit bidding, the lien holder's nuclear option. You show up with your debt paperwork and outbid everyone without spending a dollar. Will Diane try to stop it? Doug asked. Absolutely, Mara said. Here's what she'll do. She wrote numbered predictions. 1. Emergency special assessment. Levy every homeowner $2,500 to pay the debt. 2. Challenge debt validity. Claim the assignment was improper. 3. Seek injunction. Court order delaying sale. 4. Public smear campaign. Make Max the villain. She's already started number 4. Lisa said Facebook's a nightmare. She's got people thinking Max is some corporate raider stealing their pool. That's where you come in. Mara pointed to Lisa. Community inoculation. We need the truth out before sale day. Lisa pulled out a folder. She'd already started printed flyers with simple facts. Diane mismanaged HOA funds. Diane filed false police reports. Max isn't your enemy. Diane's corruption caused this crisis. I've got 42 people ready to go door to door tomorrow. Lisa said, younger families hate the fees. Older folks hate conflict. We'll emphasize Max won't levy special assessments. Doug cleared his throat. I've drafted a letter to county commissioners. As a concerned citizen, he slid it. Across the table. Documents the pattern of false code complaints from Meadowbrook. Suggests investigation into HOA harassment of residents. Creates a paper trail that protects Max from retaliation claims, Reggie added, and opens the door for county sanctions against Diane. If commissioners get involved, she's looking at fines, possibly criminal referral. After the sale, Mara continued, assuming Max wins the bid. You'll own the assets, not the homes, just the common property. You can restructure or dissolve the HOA entirely. Dissolve it. Herb leaned forward. Turn it into a voluntary neighborhood association. No enforcement power. No mandatory fees. Pool and clubhouse become community resources funded by voluntary contributions. I've been thinking about this for days. What about basic standards? People still need to follow county codes. County handles that. Doug said abandoned vehicles, health hazards, actual violations. That's our job. You don't need an HOA finding people over mailbox colors. Mara wrote on the whiteboard post-foreclosure plan asterisk, dissolve mandatory, HOA asterisk, create voluntary association asterisk, eliminate architectural restrictions, asterisk, pool open to community, modest membership, fee, asterisk, excess fund scholarship in Jenna's name. The scholarship's important. Mara said shows you're not profit-motivated $10,000 annually to local students. It's good optics and good karma. Herb spoke up, voice rough with emotion. Son, when you win, and you will win, be gracious. Half these folks were scared of Diane, not loyal to her. Give them a way back. The room went quiet. I'm not doing this for revenge, I said finally. I'm doing it so my daughter learns that broken systems can be fixed. That bullies don't always win. Then let's make sure you're ready. Mara handed out assignments. Lisa, grassroots campaign. Doug, file the county letter. Reggie, prepare legal documentation for sale day. Herb, talk to other long-term residents. Build coalition. What do I do? I asked. Show up September 28th with your debt assignment and proof of identity. Let me handle the legal. You just be the calm, reasonable guy who's fixing a corrupt system. She closed her briefcase. And Max, don't engage with Diane between now and then. No matter what she does, stay quiet. We worked until midnight refining strategy. I ordered pizza. We ate, standing around the whiteboard, making notes, wargaming scenarios. As everyone left, Mara pulled me aside. You understand you could still lose everything? If something goes wrong with the sale, if there's a title defect, if I know, and you're still doing this? I looked at the photo on my mantle. Jenna and Riley planting the first flowers, both covered in dirt, laughing. My daughter asked me if we should move because a bully made her feel unsafe in her own home. Yeah, I'm still doing this. Mara nodded. Then let's win. Diane found out about the debt assignment 3 days later. Don't know how. Maybe Lawrence told someone. Maybe she actually read the county records. Either way, Tuesday morning, she called an emergency HOA meeting. 48-hour notice violated the bylaws requiring 14 days, but Diane didn't care anymore. Critical financial matter. The email said Tuesday, 7:00 p.m. Clubhouse. 87 homeowners showed up. Normally, meetings drew maybe 20. The parking lot overflowed. People parked on grass. I didn't go. Mara's advice, stay invisible. Let Diane panic publicly. But Lisa recorded the whole thing on her phone. Diane had prepared a PowerPoint, professional slides, charts, the works, title, Saving Our Community. She blamed unexpected legal costs for the financial crisis. Never mentioned the $60,000 she'd paid her own companies. Never mentioned the balloon payment she'd been deferring for years. We need to act decisively. I'm proposing a special assessment of $3,000 per household due in 14 days. This will resolve our obligations and protect our property values. The room exploded. Young families couldn't afford it. Retirees on fixed income started shouting. Single mom in the back row stood up crying. She just lost her job. Couldn't pay $3,000 in 2 weeks. Diane tried to maintain control. I understand this is difficult, but if we don't pay, a predatory outside investor will seize control of our amenities. Your property values will collapse overnight. She never said my name, just kept saying outside investor and predator. Lisa Cho stood. Diane, show us the financial records. Explain how we're broke when we collect $150,000 annually. We can review details later. This is time sensitive. No. Herb Vance rose slowly. World War II vet, 89 years old. Voice still strong. Diane, I've lived here since the first house was built. I reviewed the documents Max Brennan provided through legal channels. You've been stealing from this HOA for years. Chaos, shouting from all sides, people demanding answers, others defending Diane. The meeting dissolved into factions. Diane gave it closed without a vote, grabbed her laptop, and left through the back door. In the parking lot, homeowners clustered in groups. Lisa handed out information packets, the ones we'd prepared, financial analysis, timeline of Diane's self-doing, copy of Lawrence's email about her harassment scheme. 40 people exchanged phone numbers, agreed to attend the foreclosure sale. The war was going public. Wednesday morning, my work truck was vandalized again. Not tires this time. Someone poured paint stripper across the hood, ate through clear coat, and base paint down to primer. $1,200 repair. Security cameras showed nothing. Happened at a job site, not home. No cameras there. Thursday, anonymous complaint to Missouri Division of Professional Registration. Alleged I performed unlicensed electrical work. Completely false. All my work is permitted, but state investigator had to open a file. My license went under review status. Public record. 2 potential clients withdrew bids. Don't want regulatory uncertainty. Cost approximately $15,000 in lost contracts. Friday was worse. School receptionist Diane's friend called Child Protective Services. Anonymous report of child neglect. Daughter frequently unsupervised. Home conditions concerning. CPS investigator showed up at my door at 4:00 p.m. Emma Torres, early 30s. Professional, but kind. She had to follow protocol. Inspected the house. Clean, organized. Riley's room full of books and toys. Fridge stocked. No safety hazards. Interviewed Riley in private. My daughter sat in her room answering questions while I waited in the kitchen, stomach in knots. 45 minutes. That felt like 6 hours. When Emma came out, Riley was crying. Not because of the questions, because she thought she'd done something wrong. I held her on the porch steps. She smelled like her bubblegum toothpaste. Her small voice shaking. Did I make you get in trouble, Daddy? No, baby. You didn't do anything wrong. Someone told a lie, and this nice lady had to check. But she knows it's a lie now. Emma closed her laptop. Mr. Brennan, this report was clearly malicious. Zero evidence of neglect. I'm closing this immediately. She paused at her car. Off record. I see this in custody battles and neighbor feuds. Document who might have filed. You may need a restraining order. After Riley fell asleep, I sat in the dark living room. Thought seriously about quitting, dropping the foreclosure, selling the house, moving to a different state. Start over where nobody knew us. Reggie showed up at 10 p.m. with a bottle of whiskey. Didn't call first, just appeared. We sat on the porch. Cicadas loud in the September heat. You're 3 weeks from finishing this, he said. She's desperate because she's losing. She called CPS on my kid, Reggie. I know, and that's how you know you're winning. People don't do that when they have other options. He poured 2 fingers in each glass. You quit now, she wins, and she'll do this to the next person who doesn't fit her vision. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Lawrence Kressler heard Diane called CPS on you. That's low even for her. I have a deposition transcript from our divorce where she admitted under oath to filing false complaints against 3 homeowners to force sales. I'll testify in your lawsuit if you want. She's earned it. Attached PDF of divorce deposition. Diane's testimony under oath describing her property value enhancement strategy. I forwarded it to Mara. Her response came in 30 seconds. This is evidence of conspiracy to commit fraud. We're not in civil suit territory anymore. This could involve the Attorney General. You good? Reggie asked. I looked at Riley's window, her nightlight glowing soft yellow. Yeah, I'm good. She just made a mistake. What mistake? She went after my daughter. Now I'm not just fixing a broken HOA. I finished the whiskey. Now I'm making sure she can't do this to anyone else ever again. 10 days until foreclosure. Diane filed emergency injunction Monday morning. Claimed the debt assignment violated notice requirements that Lawrence hadn't properly informed the HOA before transferring. Court hearing set for 2 p.m. Judge Patricia Reeves, 60-some, reputation for shredding weak arguments. Diane hired real firepower this time. Gerald Hutchkins, downtown firm, for $100 an hour suit. The kind of attorney who makes opposing counsel nervous just by showing up. Courtroom smelled like old wood and floor wax. Me, Mara, Reggie in the second row. Diane, with 3 board members across the aisle, whispering urgently. Hutchkins stood all confidence in polished shoes. Your Honor, the debt assignment failed to provide my client adequate opportunity to cure default before transfer. Mara rose, calm as glass. Your Honor, the HOA received 3 certified notices over 18 months. Mrs. Kressler personally signed for each. She handed up tracking receipts. The balloon payment was due last December. They've been in default 9 months. Judge Reeves studied the documents, looked at Hutchkins over her reading glasses. Counselor, your client signed for notices in August, September, and November. What requirement wasn't met? Your Honor, the assignment itself required separate. Show me the statute. Hutchkins flipped through papers. Found nothing. Motion denied. Sale proceeds as scheduled. Gavel crack. Outside media waited. Jake Mitchell and a CAM BBC News crew. Diane rushed them. Tears queued up. This is a travesty. One man's vendetta is destroying our community. Jake cut in. Mrs. Kressler, can you address allegations you paid your own company's $60,000 in HOA funds? She froze, literally stopped mid-sentence. And the 8 families claiming you harassed them into selling, then collected commissions. No answer. Just a stare at the camera, then at Hutchkins, then back. She walked to her Lexus without another word. Mara intercepted before they turned to me. Mr. Brennan will make a statement after Friday's sale. 8 days out, Diane went digital warfare. Professional website launched. SaveMeadowbrook.org. Slick design, drone footage, testimonials from concerned families. Portrayed me as corporate raiders stealing 127 homes. I wasn't touching homes, just common property, but fear sells. Embedded GoFundMe legal defense fund. $14,000 raised in 3 days from people outside Meadowbrook who believe the narrative. Wednesday Evening News ran her story. 5 minutes of Diane crying about families losing everything. The reporter called me afterward. I emailed documentation instead of going on camera. Mara's strategy. This is completely different than what she described. He said, "Can we do follow-up? Talk to the families." She drove out. Talk to Lisa Cho. Talk to county code enforcement. Then tell the real story. Jake and the TV reporter coordinated found former residents. A single mom who endured 53 violation notices in 6 months. An interracial couple who sold at a loss after constant harassment. An elderly man whose wife died during chemo while Diane threatened fines over lawn height. Thursday's news, HOA president accused of systematic harassment, but Diane didn't see it. She was too busy posting GoFundMe updates, playing victim on Facebook. 5 days out, the neighborhood became a war zone of yard signs. Save Meadowbrook Estates appeared in 30 yards. Diane's People 50 countered with handmade reform, not revenge signs. Carpool arrangements collapsed. Parents avoided each other at school pickup. Former friends crossed streets to avoid conversation. Riley came home Tuesday crying. Classmate told her I was stealing the pool. I held her on the couch, breathing in her strawberry shampoo scent, feeling her small body shake. I'm not stealing anything. Some people made bad choices with money. I'm fixing it. Why do they think you're mean? Because the person who made bad choices is lying. But lies don't win forever, baby. Truth just takes longer. She looked up with Jenna's green eyes. Will it be over Friday? Friday? I promise. Wednesday, Lawrence texted. She's at $118,000 on GoFundMe. Don't worry, that money can't pay the debt. Only legal fees. She's panicking. Thursday morning, Mara's call. What's your day one plan? I win the bid and no after. The HOA board technically still exists until you dissolve it. Diane will fight every step. Homeowners will be confused, angry. Some will blame you even though you saved them. Pause. You need immediate community meeting. Saturday, open forum. Explain the voluntary association plan, scholarship fund. No mandatory fees. Let people ask questions. What about the people who believed her? Lies. Be gracious. Herb was right. They need an exit ramp back to normal. That night, I couldn't sleep. Ran scenarios endlessly. What if cash bidder appeared? What if last-minute procedural trap? What if I missed something in the title work? At 3 a.m., I stood in the driveway. September night, air cool finally after summer heat. Cricket symphony. Wildflower garden visible in moonlight. Jenna's purple cone flowers and Blachyid Susanus in full bloom. Riley wanted to plant more this weekend when it's over. Tomorrow I'd either own the HOA or lose everything. But at least my daughter would know her father fought back. I went inside, set my alarm for 6 a.m., and laid out my clothes for courthouse. Clean jeans, work shirt, steel-toed boots. Not playing dress up, going as myself. Friday, September 28th, foreclosure day, county courthouse, 10 a.m. I arrived at 9:15. Parking lot already half full. The morning smelled like cut grass from the courthouse lawn. And that particular September humidity that makes your shirt stick. Cica's droning. Limestone steps radiating heat even this early. Crowd forming. Had to be 200 people. Homeowners, media, 3 TV crews, 2 newspapers, curious onlookers, court officials. I parked 4 blocks away. Walked in alone. Marlo was already inside handling paperwork. Reggie waited by the entrance. You ready? He asked. No, let's do this anyway. 9:45 I reached the courthouse steps. Diane's supporters were waiting. Booze. Someone shouted, thief. A woman in her 50s spat in my direction. Mist hit the sidewalk. Then Lisa Cho appeared with 30 people, formed a buffer, walked me through. Herb Vance at the front. 89 years old, steady as granite. Diane arrived at 9:50. White suit, power move, hair done, makeup TV ready. 5 board members flanking her like security detail. Gerald Hutchkins, the attorney, carrying a briefcase that probably costs more than my truck payment. Media swarmed immediately. Cameras, microphones, shouted questions. Diane stopped, gave them what they wanted. Impromptu press conference on courthouse steps. This is heartbreaking. One man's greed is destroying 127 families' dreams. We offered reasonable settlement. He refused. Remember who chose this? Her voice cracked perfectly on cue. Complete lie? No settlement offer ever made. Mara touched my arm, whispered, "Don't respond. Let the sale speak." 10 a.m. exactly. Special Commissioner Walter Grimm, court-appointed auctioneer, 70-some board professional who'd done this 1,000 times, stepped to the podium, read the legal description in monotone. All common areas, amenities, and improvements of Meadowbrook Estates Homeowners Association, including swimming pool facility, clubhouse structure, playground equipment, entrance landscaping, storm water management systems, approximately 15 acres total. Felt surreal hearing my neighborhood described like a commodity. Minimum bid is $340,000 representing outstanding debt plus fees. Opening bid, 30 seconds of silence. Crowd murmuring, phones recording. I raised my hand. $340,000. My voice sounded steadier than I felt. Commissioner nodded. Credit bid noted. Any other biders? Your Honor, I object, Diane started. Ma'am, I'm not a judge. This is a foreclosure sale. I don't hear objections. Grimm's voice flat, annoyed. Going once. Wait. Woman from the crowd. Diane's friend shouted. 500,000. Grimm didn't even look up. You registered to bid, ma'am? I know, but unregistered bidder. Invalid. He raised his gavel. Going twice. Time stretched. I could hear my heartbeat. Smell my own nervous sweat mixing with courthouse limestone dust. Going 3 times. Sold to Max Brennan for $340,000. Gavel crack. 10:04 a.m. I own the HOA. Diane rushed toward me. Hutchkins trying to grab her arm, failing. You've ruined everything. Do you understand what you've done? I stayed calm. Mara had drilled this into me. I bought a debt your HOA refused to pay. That's capitalism, Diane. Thought you loved the free market. You planned this from the beginning. You never belonged here. I pulled out the folder, held documents up so cameras could see. This is the title deed proving I was never in your HOA. Recorded 1998, 10 years before you moved here. Flash of her face. Realization she'd been wrong about that from day one. These are emails from your ex-husband showing you harassed homeowners to generate real estate commissions. 60 families targeted, 8 forced out. You made $340,000 in commissions. Exactly the amount of debt you refused to pay. Gasps from the crowd, cameras zooming. This is the police report from when you filed a false claim saying you own my house. Diane's composure cracking. And this I held up the final page. This is the CPS case file from when you reported me for child neglect because I wouldn't follow your fake authority over property you had no legal control over. Reporter shouted, Mrs. Kressler, did you file a false police report? Diane stared at me, then at the cameras, then at the documents in my hands, visible to everyone. The board will fight this. I'll Diane stop. Lawrence Kressler stepped forward from the crowd. I hadn't known he'd come. I gave him those emails. You did this to yourself. Her face went through shock, betrayal, rage, fear in 5 seconds. This isn't over. She walked to her Lexus. Half her supporters followed. The rest stayed, looking uncertain. Media surrounded me. Mara ran interference. Brief statement. Mr. Brennan will restructure the association to serve all homeowners fairly, transparently, and voluntarily. Community meeting Saturday, 10 a.m. Clubhouse. Everyone invited. Deputy Sheriff approached through the crowd. Served papers directly to me. Civil suit filed by Diane personally. Intentional infliction of emotional distress, conspiracy, defamation. $2 million demanded. I actually laughed. Couldn't help it. Mara read it, smiled. Nuisance suit. Will counterclaim for everything she's done. Malicious prosecution, defamation, tortious interference, fraud. Discovery will destroy her real estate career. Reporter overheard. So you're suing her back? I want to fix the neighborhood and raise my daughter, but if she keeps coming, I shrugged. We'll let a jury decide who the real villain is. Lisa announced to the crowd. Community potluck tomorrow, 4 p.m. Everyone's invited. Time to start healing. People dispersed slowly, some glaring, some relieved, most confused. I sat alone on the courthouse steps after everyone left. Warm limestone under me. Called Riley's grandmother. "It's done, sweetie. Tell Riley she can come home." Week 1. After the sale, I dissolved the HOA board, filed paperwork creating interim management, me plus 5-member advisory committee elected by homeowners at emergency meeting. Diane sent TUR email resignation, legally unnecessary since board no longer existed, but she needed the last word. Saturday morning community meeting drew 140 homeowners. Record turnout, clubhouse packed, people standing along walls spilling onto the patio. I kept it simple. I didn't do this to be your king. I did it because the system was broken and hurting people. Effective immediately. No architectural violations, no fines, no mandatory fees. The pool, clubhouse, playground, their community resources, not weapons, explain the new structure. Voluntary neighborhood association. Join if you want, contribute if you can, help if you're able. Questions came fast. What about property maintenance, safety, organization? County codes still apply. Everyone follows those serious issues. Abandoned cars. Actual health hazards get handled through county enforcement, but no more wrong shade of beige violations. Vote 118 for new structure, 9 against, 13 abstaining. Herb Vance nominated me for advisory committee. Passed unanimously. For families approached after apologizing for believing Diane's stories. Brought casseroles, cookies, the awkward peace offerings of people who'd been wrong. Riley came home Sunday. First thing she noticed, neighborhood kids playing outside again. The tension had lifted like fog burning off. That week, I finished her birthday dollhouse. Jenna's design finally complete. Riley cried when she saw it. Asked to put it in the front window, so everyone can see mommy's flowers in her house. We took her to the child psychologist Tuesday, processing the trauma from the police incident, the CPS visit, the months of fear. The therapist told me privately, "You handled this right. You showed her how to stand up to bullies without becoming one. That's a gift." The wildflower garden became neighborhood gathering spot. Riley and I planted expansion beds, more native prairie flowers, milkweed for monarchs. Neighbors helped. Kids digging. Adults hauling mulch. Someone's grandmother directing traffic with the authority of a battlefield general. The smell of fresh mulch and purple cone flowers. Sound of kids laughing at the playground. Riley's hand in mine as we planted. Dirt under our fingernails. September sun. Warm on our backs. One evening, Diane's Lexus drove past slowly. She stared at the garden, at the families working together, at kids playing, kept driving, no contact. But something in her face looked like she finally understood what she'd lost. I wasn't angry anymore, just tired and ready for normal life. 3 months later, the voluntary association had 89 member families, 70% participation. Pool maintenance funded through contributions plus modest fee, $200 annually versus old mandatory, $1,200. I established the Max Brennan Memorial Scholarship, $10,000 yearly to local high school senior pursuing healthcare or teaching. Funded by selling clubhouse naming rights to Meadowbrook Credit Union for $25,000 neighborhood organized quarterly service days. Food bank volunteering, habitat restoration, youth mentoring, community rebuilding itself from the inside, property values actually increased. Buyers attracted to no HOA tyranny marketing. Realtors, not Diane, described Meadowbrook as reformed community with optional association. Diane lost her real estate license after state investigation triggered by news coverage, filed bankruptcy, moved to a different county. I never spoke to her again. She dropped her lawsuit after Mara filed devastating counterclaim and began discovery. Settlement included confidentiality clause and permanent no-contact agreement regarding me and Riley. Kansas City News featured Meadowbrook as case study and HOA reform. 2 other Missouri neighborhoods followed similar paths. Foreclosure purchases by residents. Conversion to voluntary associations. 1 year later, my electrical business thrived. Hired 3 more employees. That downtown building renovation I almost lost. Client gave me 2 more projects. Riley made honor roll. Played soccer. Had friends across Meadowbrook regardless of old feuds. I started dating Emma Torres, the CPS investigator who'd handled Diane's false report. We reconnected at community food truck night, taking it slow, but Riley approved. Meadowbrook became known for monthly events. Halloween parade, summer movie series, all volunteer organized, all genuine. One evening, Riley and I sat on the porch watching sunset. She leaned against me, stuffed rabbit in her lap. Mommy would be proud, right, Daddy? I kissed her head. Yeah, baby. We made something better. So, that's how I went from being harassed by an HOA I wasn't even in to owning the HOA itself and using it to build something worth keeping. If you're dealing with HOA nightmares, document everything. Know your rights. And remember, they're not untouchable. Just corporations that can be beaten with patience and paperwork. What's your worst HOA story? Drop it in the comments. Let's compare battle scars. Hit subscribe if you want more stories about beating broken systems the legal way. Next time, how a property line dispute led to discovering buried mob money. You won't believe where this goes.